November 17, paper 2H, question 19. A triangle has vertices P, Q and R. The coordinates of P are -3, -6, Q's 1, 4 and R's 5, -2. M is the midpoint of PQ and N is the midpoint of QR. Prove that MN is parallel to PR. You must show each stage of your working. Well, a diagram could be a big help here, so let's set up some axes, just rough axes. Let's say 2, 4, 6 going that way, 2, 4, 6 in the other directions as well. And that will allow me to have a rough diagram with P at -3, -6, that's down here. So P is -3, -6. Q is 1, 4, which would be about there. And R is the point 5, -2, which would be there. And now I need to find these midpoints, M and N. So M is the midpoint of PQ, so we're looking at halfway along that line there. Now if we've got x1, y1 and x2, y2, the midpoint is given by the average of the x coordinates, add them together and half it, and the average of the y coordinates, add them together and half the answer. So M, the midpoint of PQ, is 1 plus -3, the sum of the x coordinates, divided by 2, and 4 plus -6 divided by 2 for the y coordinates. Now 1 plus -3 is 1 minus 3, which is -2, and -2 divided by 2 is -1. 4 add -6 is 4 take away 6, which is -2, and -2 divided by 2 is -1. So M is the point -1, -1. What about N? N is the midpoint of QR, so that's the midpoint of this line here. So N, I want the average of the x coordinates, the average of the y coordinates. It's 1 plus 5 over 2 and 4 plus -2 over 2. 1 plus 5 is 6, divided by 2 is 3, and 4 add -2 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. So the midpoint of this one, N, is 3, 1. And what we've been asked to do is show that MN, that's that line there, is parallel to this third side of the triangle. And we'll do that by showing that they have the same gradient. So gradient MN. Now the gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 for 2 points x1, y1 and x2, y2. In other words, it's the difference in the y coordinates divided by the difference in the x coordinates. So gradient of MN is equal to 1 minus -1, that's the difference in the y coordinates, over 3 minus -1. 1 minus -1 is 1 plus 1, which is 2, and 3 minus -1 is 3 plus 1, which is 4. So the gradient is 2/4 or a half. And what about the gradient of PR? Well, that would be -2 minus -6 divided by 5 minus -3. -2 minus -6 is -2 plus 6, which is 4. And 5 minus -3 is 5 plus 3, which is 8. And that cancels to a half as well. So I can say parallel since same gradient. And that completes the question.